So now I want to talk to you about the various support levels and what you're actually supporting when you get involved in this effort. And I want you to know what you're getting in return. So let me give you a little bit of the breakdown in the history of how this was all put together and how it evolved into this. Your support actually fuels this program of advocacy, but it also fuels your program of advocacy in your individual practice and community. And that's what I'm offering you in return. Now, the very minimal support level would be for you to just take advantage of what I'm putting out there. Because I'm going direct to public, you're going to want to introduce the public to me, whether you've been introduced to me, whether you've exchanged words with me, or even supported me in any financial way whatsoever. And you are going to want to get this content out to those people. It's only going to help you, and that helps me in return. So you have that most fundamental level there. But I want to talk to you about what the higher levels of support will do for you and how I came up with them and what each one does. So my true advocacy process, I recently organized into a masterclass. I took thousands of hours of coaching that I had, every single coaching call recorded and in a library, and I sifted through all that to find where we were getting the biggest bang in terms of getting people to really get it. And I took all those best materials and we shot a series of videos and put together and compiled this masterclass. So putting all that together, people can now do what I do. Now I'm quite proud of what I do, and actually in putting this together, I had to review some of the successes that my clients have had over the years, and my mind is called to one of them in particular. It's actually a transcript from an orientation call. This group had actually just started out with me. There were about 9 people in the room, including the clinic owner herself, who I had never met. I had been hired by the practice manager, and after the orientation, I was quite pleasantly surprised to get her reaction. She was silent the entire time, which could very easily, when the person finally speaks up at the end and says, "I would like to comment," you have one of those uh-oh moments, like, where could this go? But she had said that she was, at the time, she was close to 30 years in practice, and told me that she spent her first 5 years in practice gruelingly doing screenings and how much she hated them. But she did it for a solid 5 years and owes a lot of where she is today to that initial willingness to do that against hating it. And she talked about how she hated it. But what she let me know about the program and my advocacy process is it's the first thing in nearly 30 years that made this fun for her again and made her want to go back out and actually meet the public. And that she couldn't believe that that was possible. So seeing the uniqueness of it and seeing how different it was than just these scripts and different, methodologies that she had learned from consulting groups over the years, she saw that I had really reached the fundamentals there and made it fun and made it possible for even all of her staff to be able to be as effective, if not more effective, than she had been, or can be. And so that was quite a proud moment, but it also gave me some idea of what I really need to push back to you in exchange for your support. Another one that I reviewed was a video of a top clients and supporters right in the heart of New York City. He was talking about the work we've done together. We did a lot of work together many years ago. He had gotten in touch with me to let me know that he'd been listening to my podcast, Will Work for Patients, and that he resonated with a lot of my views, with what I'm doing out there, and could we maybe arrange to work together again, because it always worked out. And from the very first event that I did with him, I went out to advocate his practice, and I did my usual production in terms of the amounts of appointments for day ones that I had scheduled. And what he hadn't expected was that 3 of those appointments were made for that evening. And I'll never forget it. I had gotten a text at 9 p.m. letting me know that he was astounded and pleased that all 3 of those people not only arrived for their day 1, but signed on board as patients. That is the kind of miraculous results that occur when you become a true advocate. And when you do what I've done thousands of times, and I've really put it to the test, not to see if it works to get you appointments or more new patients, but to see the light bulbs go off with people, which I talked about in a previous video, and you should watch that video to get an idea of what my program does. So as far as the levels of support are concerned, I'm taking all the things that I've done over the years and I'm pushing them back to you. Now, first and foremost, if you get somebody to listen to the podcast or push the content down to your mailing list, you're already getting me out there on the front line screening for you. That literally makes it possible for me to screen all the public we can reach through every single doctor on the planet. It makes it possible. It opens the door. So there is that level of support right there. But beyond that, doing some of those mailing list mailings that I'm actually going to be creating the content for and giving back to you, and you'll be able to push it down to your people, which will be awesome because that will give you more interaction with that database, more quality interaction instead of just soliciting people all the time. Okay, this isn't about solicitation. The true advocacy process has nothing to do with sales pitches, offers. It has to do with light bulbs going off, and I want to create that light bulb going off for you. Now, the masterclass that I spoke about is actually based on the thousands of hours of coaching that I've done. I started compiling all of that content and then shooting videos for a masterclass. So that masterclass is available. Now, one of the things I've insisted on in all of my coaching calls over the years is that you go out and do it. Once people learn my basic advocacy process, I send them out onto the front lines. I have them go find any screening opportunity they can find and just go out there and do it and then come back and we have a coaching call together to discuss what occurred, because now we're on a par. We're on the same level where you have the same observational understanding as do I. And that being said, I had expanded my coaching program to include an internship program, and people were and still are able to come and screen with me, actually can see me in action, and can work on what we've coached together under my supervision. That has been a tremendously successful program as well. But though we will continue to do that on a limited basis, I've released the screening demonstrations. And this is an audio series that you can listen to that has demonstrations from actual screenings, recorded demonstrations. Every single screening demonstration has two versions. The first version is with commentary, where I talk about what just occurred, what was happening there, and why I did what I did. And you could then, sort of with new ears, listen through from beginning to end. So you have the complete screening without commentary. So every single recording has those two features. So not only do you have me on the front lines working for you, but you're going to be able to hear me on the front lines doing it and be able to emulate that in a lot of ways and mold what you're doing more toward what I'm doing. Get me in the forefront screening for you, but at the same time, listen to what I'm doing when I'm actually screening people and getting you more able by being influenced by that. So I'm quite proud of those audio demonstrations, but the next level of support would be to do the masterclass and be able to have access to those videos, all the philosophy, the true advocacy process. The road to advocacy has 17 states of mind that you absolutely need to learn and master to be able to fully understand what changes are occurring with people and why this light bulb goes off, what the light bulb actually is, and why it's so valuable, and why it creates more people than ever sitting in your ROF chair, which we know is the real problem. The real problem isn't getting you to close treatment plans. It's getting people to show up and sit in that chair in front of you and be interested in what's about to happen. The tiers above that would be, of course, to have me come in and do an all day or all weekend on-site seminar to do intense training with us. But the main point is there are levels of advocacy and training for everyone in exchange for your sponsorship. Now, the materials are infinite. And the infinite coaching means that the burden is on me to get you to understand. It's not on you to do it within a certain amount of hours. I want to make sure the most important thing occurs, and that's for you to understand the philosophy and be able to use and apply it, because it's worthless otherwise. And so my guarantee has always been unlimited coaching until we reach that point. But infinity also means that the materials are ever evolving. I am on the front lines. I still see thousands of people a year and advocate chiropractic to them. That process is ever evolving. So keeping myself current on the front lines, doing those thousands of screenings a year, I'm learning new things. Just recently, posture fell out of the hamper. I had abandoned posture for many years. Many of us had, because it was falling on deaf or at least disinterested ears. posture has come back into the mix in a way where a light bulb goes off and people are actually interested in it when it's presented in this way and in context with what we're doing in this true advocacy process. I'm ever expanding and putting new things into those materials, so there's always new content. I now have something called the Screening Tapes, which is this audio lecture series of me lecturing on some of these concepts and getting more in depth on each concept to get just that third dimension to the understanding of this. So the amount of support I'm willing to push back toward you in exchange for your support is just not only phenomenal, but limitless. It's literally limitless. And you are going to be able to really cash in on that to make that global impact locally in your community, and that's what I'm here to do. Now, your support, what does it do? Your support actually gives me energy to do what I do. It takes countless hours to be able to edit audio. Just my Will Work for Patients podcast alone takes many hours of editing per episode. And I am a master editor. I do podcast production. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to have your own show, you can have me as your producer. That's another level of support. I produce shows right now for chiropractors, for wellness professionals, and I am a crackerjack producer, and my superpower is editing and telling a story from just some various random parts that kind of come together in an episode. All of that takes energy and fuel. It takes many hours of time for me to go out and advocate, for me to do these internships, for me to shoot the videos and post the videos and build membership sites for master classes and things like that. And that's the fuel I need, and that's where your support is going. So I would like to ask for your support in any level that you can. So please look at the various levels of support. Select the one that you feel is best for you. And if you need help doing that, by all means, reach out to me, frank@screeningexperts.com. Set up a time with me. I am willing to take any number of minutes or even hours to sit with you and help you do an assessment. Just take the facts and figure out what the best option is for you going forward in supporting me and my supporting you straight back. But what I want you to realize is any level of support that you choose is actually an investment in your own practice and in the entire profession, I'm very proud to say. I'm very proud of this program. I'm very proud to have you sitting here hearing about it and being at least interested to check it out. Please support any way you can. Select the appropriate membership level, and I'll see you on the front lines.